So welcome to the languages talk for the academic year 21-22 for studying abroad. Just first of all to say hello. So my name's Kate Harmon. I'm the Senior Study Abroad Coordinator. You might have come across my colleague Jess Franklin, perhaps. She'd normally be with me as well, but she's off this week, unfortunately. But myself and Jess will be helping you through the process of studying abroad. So that includes giving you any information you might need, just talking through bits and bobs with you, helping you with the application process, and also supporting you whilst you're abroad as well. So presumably you'll have come across this quite obviously. Your course is designed to have this feature in mind, but Study Abroad is basically, it's a programme where you can go and study abroad for a year at one of our partner universities. So for you guys, that's a partner in either South Korea or in Japan, depending on what course you're on. And it's quite unique because it lets you spend the whole year abroad. You can learn, really immerse yourself in that experience there, really build up your language skills. And as we've seen, I'm sure you've been to some of the showcase nights, that seems to be a really popular thing and a really helpful thing in bringing your language skills to life even more. So apart from sort of the obvious reasons, so why study abroad? Well, there's lots of different reasons apart from just the language skills that are really good for you, both academically and in the future as well. So you get a new academic perspective on your subject. So again, for you, obviously there's the language element, which is very high, but also you're going to be taught in a different way to how you are at YSJ. So that's going to be different, but I think a good thing. You'll gain an international network of friends. So you'll meet people from different universities around the world, as well as obviously the people who are at the university you go to. You'll definitely get the different culture, so both South Korea and Japan. Develop intercultural and employability skills, so there's lots of those, and we go through those in more details as well. But it's things like we've got on the side here, like resilience, independence, being able to adapt to different things, being flexible, confidence. It's going to give you a big confidence boost to be able to be abroad for all that time. And just intercultural competence as well. You can navigate a different way of life and a different environment. And of course, the obvious one is to have fun too. So in terms of what typically happens to people who study abroad, we find that they're 10% more likely to get a first or a 2-1. This is based on study abroad students from 3 or 4 years ago. You're 24% more likely to be in graduate jobs within 6 months of graduating, and on average 7% higher wage earners too. So there's definitely a lot of perks to study abroad just in general. So in terms of funding, I know this is often a thing people want to hear about the most. For your year abroad, you get an 85% discount on your tuition fees. So obviously that's quite a substantial cut in fees, and you don't have to pay any to your host institution either. You'll also be eligible for a bursary. So this isn't means tested, you don't have to apply for it, we just give you it, and it's £750. So you get that as £500 when you arrive, and then £250 at the end. You'll get your maintenance loan as normal as well, and you can apply for that in one lump sum if you wish, and we can give you details on that further down the line. You can also get a travel grant through Student Finance England. So when you apply for your maintenance loan, you tick a box to say you're studying abroad. And again, we'll go through this in more detail, but it's just to give you an idea. They can then send you a form, and anything you spend above £303 on flights and visas, they can refund some or all of it. So if you spend, I don't know, say £700, for example, then the first 303 they wouldn't look at, but anything above that amount, they would pay all of it back to you if your household income is below 25,000 a year. Or if it's more than that, then it's sort of a sliding scale. So the more your household income is, the less you can claim back. You can also apply for a BUTEC scholarship, which is £500. Now, this is a national award, so obviously there is competition across the country, but it's definitely worth applying for. So in terms of your costs, you've got your obvious things like flights, your health insurance, which I'm not too sure what it is for South Korea. I'll have to double check. For Japan, I think it's only about £7 or £8 a month. It's not a huge amount, but you have to pay into that to be able to use their healthcare system. There's also visas to buy as well, and that will include a trip to the South Korean and Japanese embassies in London. You have to go there to get your visas, so it's just worth factoring that in too. For most of you, you will do a medical form of some type. Now, this can vary depending on where you go. They just need to know certain things. So sometimes it's just blood tests, sometimes they need chest scans. It depends. And that's why we recommend you register with the healthcare centre, which you can do up until the early new year as well. So don't worry if you've not done so yet. There's your accommodation. Now this again really varies, depends on where you stay. Some places are a lot more expensive than others, some are very cheap. And your day-to-day living costs. So things that you'd have if you were in York anyway, such as food, books, that kind of thing. So where can you go? Well, there's a number of different options open to you. So we'll start with Japan. So in the Tokyo region, we've got quite a few different universities, which are all listed here. So Toyo International Christian University, Chiba, Rikyo, you'll have to forgive my pronunciation, by the way, Kokigakuin, Meiji, and Sophia. So they're all sort of in and around Tokyo, and you can see from the smiley face there whereabouts they are. We have some in the Osaka and Kobe region. So again, the smiley face is on the map, so you can see. I'm sure you're very familiar with the islands anyway. And then we have just various others sort of dotted around, really. So we've got some on the main island of Honshu, and then one a bit further down as well. Is it Kyushu? I might be saying that wrong. Again, I apologise if I'm terrible with my Japanese pronunciation, and I'll be even worse with South Korean, I dare say. So that's all of the Japanese partners we have. So we recommend you have a look at those. If you've not looked at the application form yet, you'll see there is space for you to put if you have a preference. So if there is one you like the look of more than another, or a particular region, you can put that on there. So it's definitely worth researching them. So for South Korea, these are new partners for us. So you'll be the first cohort to go abroad to South Korea, which is really exciting. So some of them you'll see have just got the name there. Some of them have pending in brackets. Now that is nothing to worry about. It's just we're just basically waiting to dot the I's and cross the T's on the paperwork. But we assume that these will all be ready by the time, well, probably very soon actually, in the next month or two. But it's just to make you aware. So these are all in the Seoul region. So we've got quite a few to choose from there. So that's northwest of Korea. We've got another one in the Busan region. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this one. Daejeon, is it maybe? Region. And the Ansan region. So we have quite a few. I think that might be, oh no, one more, Daegu region as well. So we've got a few dotted around there, most of them in the capital city. And a lot of them in South Korea, you'll be pleased to know, very reasonably priced in terms of accommodation costs. So the application, as you'll be aware, is now open. If you've not received the link, please let me know. Just pop it in the chat box or send me an email or a message and I can send that to you. But that's open until the 8th of January at 12 o'clock midday. So if you could please keep to that, it just makes life a lot easier for us. We need to just go through all the allocations. Your school will allocate you to the different universities that you go to. So we should be able to let you know early March, but we can give you a more definite sort of timescale a bit nearer the time. And then from March onwards, then you apply to your host university. So it's kind of a dual application process. So you apply first to us, and then we nominate you to the university that you've been selected to go to, and then they'll send you an application form, and that will include things like obviously filling in your details. It might include selecting modules, if it's a package or not, just varies. Selecting your accommodation, and it will tell you of any tests that need to be done. So the criteria for studying abroad, again, you might well know this, but you need to have completed at least 80% of non-assessed formative tasks in your language modules in semester 1 and semester 2. You need a pass on all level 5 modules after resits, if that's applicable to you. A mark of 20 or above on all level 5 semester 1 modules at the first attempt. There needs to be no concerns under the fitness to study policy that would prevent you from studying abroad. And also, obviously, no breaches of our York St John University Code of Discipline. And also, lastly, it's just been accepted by the host university themselves. It's very rare that there's a problem, but we could discuss that if that comes up. So in terms of what you should do now, check your passport is valid for the first thing. If you don't have a passport yet or it's due to run out, don't panic. if you can just apply for one as soon as you're able to. You know, if that needs to be in the new year when you get your next student loan, that's fine. But we just need to have a valid passport, particularly for when you send your forms off to your host institution. And it needs to have at least 6 months after you return from the UK. So say you come back in, I don't know what it would be, say May, June 2022, you'd need it to be valid until the end of 2022 to have those 6 months on the end there. You can have a look at our website to read all of the outgoing information on there. So that tells you, you know, actually in text about the different funding options. It tells you about the application process. You can click through to each different university and read a little bit more about them too. The student services fact sheets on most of those universities as well, so that will tell you like contact details, what you can expect to find when you're there. There might be details on, you know, support services available, that kind of thing. If you have a disability or a mental health need and you have an advisor here at YSJ, we recommend you speak to them as well, just so that they have a heads up that you're going and can offer you any support that you might need either in the run up to being abroad or, you know, whilst you're actually away. And then the last thing, of course, is to complete the application form, which, as I said, is due by Friday the 8th of January. So you've got just over a month to do so. And that's it really. So I'll stop sharing my screen now. I should just mention, if you need to book an appointment, if you want to speak to myself or Jess, you can do that through Launchpad Online. I'll put this available as a presentation in the chat box, and then at least you've got both and you can click through the links, and you can email us. We've also got Twitter and Instagram if you want to follow us, and there's a YouTube channel as well with various bits and bobs on there. And that's it. So I'll just come back to our screen and stop the recording if I can figure out how.